Hello and welcome to my third and final episode of my full plot speculation for Star Wars The Last Jedi. If you haven't seen part 1 and 2, the link will be in the description now. And we're just going to straight away pick up from where we left off with Luke and Rey on the Falcon with Chewbacca on their way to Crait. Rey is sort of adept in the Force. She can do some things with the Force, and she's relatively skilled with a lightsaber. But her training at this point is going to be sort of incomplete. After escaping Luke's island, Kylo Ren has returned to a Star Destroyer with Snoke telling him that he needs to destroy Rey because Snoke has a suspicion that Rey might be the Chosen One. Luke Skywalker actually thought Kylo Ren was going to be the Chosen One, and because of that he poured everything into Kylo Ren, teaching him a lot of stuff. But when he fell to the dark side, Luke couldn't handle it, and that's why he went to his island. With the knowledge that Rey might be the Chosen One, that would explain why Luke would be so wary to then train her. Because from last time what happened when he thought someone was the Chosen One, it obviously turned out badly. So it would make sense for Rey to be the Chosen One, because she seemingly doesn't have any parents. And it would also make sense why she's so powerful, and why Luke would be reluctant to train her. Now back on Crait, the sequence we see in the trailers with the speeders attacking the walkers, that's going to be over. The walkers are going to be mostly destroyed except for maybe 1 or 2, and all of the speeders are going to be gone. Finn is going to crash his speeder and he's going to escape out of it. This is when we're going to get into the ground combat part of this film. We're actually going to see some soldiers fighting each other, which we haven't really seen in any of the movies except for the Clone Wars ones. We are now going to see a live action version of some troops fighting each other. It's going to be sort of like what we saw in Rogue One, except on a bigger scale. Something else we're going to see for the first time since the Clone Wars is Jedi fighting infantry troops. We're going to see Luke and Rey land, and we're going to see them fighting some stormtroopers with their lightsabers. Luke doesn't have his lightsaber at this point, so I guess he will just be using the Force. Rey will be using her lightsaber, and then they will return to Resistance Base, where Luke and Leia will have their reunion. It will be all sunshine and rainbows for just 1 second, one glimmer, and then the battle will continue. So basically, this battle is going to be massive. There's going to be troops, there's going to be walkers, and they're all just gonna come together. This is going to be one of the biggest battles we've ever seen in the cinematic Star Wars universe. I'm hoping it will be sort of reminiscent to what we saw in the Clone Wars, where we see these battles where there's Jedi blocking, there's clones shooting, and going against a big army of droids. It's going to be sort of like that with the First Order troopers. I was thinking there could be a cool subplot where Finn's sort of, in a way, reluctant to fight this army because he realizes he was once one of them. Or that could just be dropped and he's just killing them. A ship's going to land, and out of it will walk out Kylo Ren and Snoke. Luke's going to be surprised because he's going to know who Snoke is, and he's going to be horrified that he's still alive. I think it would be cool that Luke saw what happened to Snoke and saw that he saw him before he was all deformed, and he was there at the event, and maybe even caused the event that made Snoke so deformed. Now, Luke wants to see how powerful Rey is, and Snoke wants to see how powerful Kylo Ren is. So Kylo Ren and Rey are going to both battle, naturally, and both the Masters are just going to observe the entire time. As Kylo Ren and Rey are fighting, Snoke and Luke are going to slowly walk towards each other. Snoke will comment how powerful Rey has become, and Luke will comment how powerful Kylo Ren has become. In a way, Snoke's going to be rubbing it in his face a little bit that Kylo Ren is now his apprentice and not Luke's. In the battle between Kylo Ren and Rey, it's going to be clear that Kylo Ren has more skill than Rey, but Rey has more natural talent, and Kylo Ren's going to pick up on this, commenting that she could be very powerful if she turned to the dark side. Rey will be opposed to the initial thought, but you can see she is going to be constantly getting angrier and more rageful. Eventually though, Kylo Ren will finish Rey off, disarming her and knocking her to the floor. He is about to kill her when Luke will throw Kylo Ren to the ground with the Force. He will then use a Force Freeze power similar to what Kylo Ren did to leave Kylo Ren stuck on the floor. Snoke will slowly make a move on Luke, and behind Luke will be R2-D2. Similar to what happened in Return of the Jedi, R2-D2 will poke out Luke's lightsaber and throw it into the air. Snoke will make some sort of comment talking about how it's time for the Jedi to end, and Luke will simply say, "I agree," when he catches his lightsaber, and Snoke and Luke will now engage in a lightsaber duel. The best way I would describe this duel would be like in Harry Potter, The Order of the Phoenix, Voldemort and Dumbledore's duel. It will be sort of like that, except with lightsabers and force powers. Rey is standing to the side, watching in awe at what's going on, but Snoke is trying to reach out to her and call her to the dark side. Luke has faith that Rey will not turn, so he is totally focused on fighting Snoke. This is when Snoke will drop the bombshell to Rey that Luke murdered her entire family. He force pushes Luke back, and Rey is in absolute horror. Snoke explains that the reason Luke killed her family was simply to try and teach and to get to Kylo Ren. Rey looks at Kylo, and Snoke says, "This weakness is the reason that Luke decided to sacrifice your family," and this gives Rey a lot of rage. Rey doesn't know what side to be on. She is so distraught within herself. That's when Snoke allows Kylo to get up by destroying Luke's Force Freeze, and Kylo immediately goes to kill Rey. Snoke doesn't verbally tell him to, but in a way we're assuming that he sort of controls Kylo Ren. Not directly mind controlled, but does manipulate him. As Kylo Ren swings at Rey, Rey immediately disarms him and cuts his hand off. She then cuts at some other part of his body, almost killing him, leaving him on the floor, and in her rage, Rey falls to the dark side. She sees the power, she sees the potential, and now, with Snoke, the person who finally told her the truth of her family, will avenge them. Rey walks towards Snoke, bows towards him. That's when Kylo Ren says, "Master, please help me." And then Snoke says, "You are no longer my apprentice." And they both walk off the planet and leave. It leaves Luke and Kylo just sitting there in shock of what just happened. Kylo Ren has lost everything, and in a way, Luke has lost another apprentice to Snoke. Snoke finds the energy to get up, and he finds a ship, and he goes off planet. He is now going to become a sort of rogue, and in the next film, he will be sort of neutral in a way like a great Jedi, and in the end, he will come back to the Resistance because he wants to destroy Snoke, but right now, he's going to go off on his own. But Luke is broken. He's just lying on the floor. Some medics will come over to him, take him back to base, but he's emotionless. He doesn't know what to do next. The Resistance will finally get off-world and escape, but with Leia's ship being destroyed, killing her. We have to have Leia die, I think, in some way. It would be really weird if she was killed off-screen, so she needs some sort of heroic death. I'm not exactly sure why that ship will be blown up. Maybe it will stay back just so the First Order can destroy that one to let the rest escape. But either way, the rest of the Resistance, very, very thin in numbers now, are just broken. They don't know what to do now, and it looks like the First Order will win. They have the upper hand in the military and the war, but they also now have the Chosen One. So everything's looking very grim, and that is how we end Star Wars The Last Jedi. How much of my speculation do you think will come true? How much of it did you like? Do you think this would be a pretty good film, or do you think it would be bad? Leave any comments down below. I read almost all of them and respond to as many as I can. Remember to put a like on this video and also hit that subscribe button with the bell on so you get notified when I make a new video. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and I hope you have a great day.